Okay, welcome folks. It is 11 o'clock by our clocks here, so we are going to go ahead and get this webinar started. Very delighted to be able to welcome you today. My name is Brooks Ballard. I'm with Catch Global Foundation, and we are excited to host today's webinar. Before we get rolling, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping and let everyone know that we are indeed recording this webinar, and there will be an archive that will be posted to the Catch website, as well as emailed out to all of the registrants for today's webinar. We encourage you to ask questions throughout today's webinar. There's a questions box in your control panel there you'll find on the side of your screen. Feel free to type in questions at any time. We will try to answer those at the end of the webinar, but if there's something pressing that comes up, we'll pause and be happy to take those. And just feel free to type them in at any time again. If you have any trouble with connections or anything like that, or need to troubleshoot anything, also feel free to shoot us a question. But I'll just go ahead and let you know the usual fix is to log out and log back into the webinar, and that usually solves any troubles. So without further ado, I want to kick off here with a acknowledgement and thanks to our partners, the Michael and Susan Dell Center for Healthy Living over at the UTHealth School of Public Health. Their vision is healthy children in a healthy world, and their mission is to advance health and healthy living for children and families through cutting-edge research, innovative community-based programs, and dissemination of evidence-based practices. A fantastic organization that actually used to employ both myself and my panelist here, co-panelist Joy Walker. So wonderful place. Check them out, msdcenter.org. And a little bit about our new organization over here, the Catch Global Foundation, which is a 501c3 public charity. And our mission here is to improve children's health worldwide by developing, disseminating, and sustaining the Catch platform in collaboration with our friends and researchers at UTHealth and the MD Anderson Cancer Center. The foundation links underserved schools and communities to the resources necessary to create and sustain healthy change for future generations. You can see some of our founding partners there. As I mentioned, MD Anderson Cancer Center, the UTHealth School of Public Health, Michael and Susan Dell Foundation, and the RGK Foundation. So the voice that you're hearing, that's me. I'm Brooks Ballard, the Director of Communications at Catch Global Foundation. And as I mentioned, I'm joined here today by Joy Walker, our Curriculum Director. And we're excited to take you through our presentation on communications here today. So I'm going to go ahead and just get us started here. So I know we're kind of near Halloween, so I'm going to start off with a little bit of a spooky story. And it's spooky in the worst kind of sense of that big brother. And it's Facebook's emotion experiment. So some of you may have heard of this before, but this was an experiment Facebook conducted back in 2012 for just like 1 week. Just so you know, they're not still well, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, this was back in 2012, and they had some behavioralists, researchers trying to work on figuring out ways to get people to spend even more time on Facebook. And so what they did was they randomly controlled users' news feeds to filter that feed that you get on the homepage of Facebook, to filter the content that they would see from their friends to be either kind of skewing a little more positive or skewing a little more negative. So they kind of, again, they weren't adjusting people's posts. They were just kind of filtering what users saw. And what they saw was that negative news feeds bred more negative posts. So if you saw a lot of negative posts coming from your friends or saw more, you were more likely to actually post negative content, or people were more likely. I don't mean to say you, but the same thing, though, was true for positive posts. So if people saw a lot of positive, happy things, they tended to be a little happier and brighter about what they posted about as well. So what the researchers, in their words, they said that this is the first experimental evidence for massive scale emotional contagion via social networks. So that's your little bit of spookiness, but the kind of bright spot and the point that we're trying to make here today is that it can have a positive influence too. This is a positive tool. And again, if people see happier things, they tend to feel a little happier. Or if they see positive sentiment around things, that will make them and help them to post happier things. So whether we're planful about the influence we have on social media or not, we will have an influence either way is kind of the main point here. So we can leverage these platforms in this online experience for promoting better health, or we can leave that kind of influence to chance. And what I'm hoping that people will go away with here today is that it's very useful and to the public health benefit to take advantage of our influence in these spaces and to really try to kind of nudge people, to use the recent Nobel Prize winner Richard Thaler's term, to nudge people towards a better, healthier life. So why should educators in schools communicate about health, kind of getting down to the ground level, besides just, oh, let's be good and let's make people healthier? Well, when you talk about health, as I mentioned in the Facebook experience, you're helping to create a culture of health because you're normalizing and celebrating healthy behaviors. You're making that health the norm, as something you might heard. But really getting down to how it helps you as an educator or your school or campus or your specific efforts is that when you call attention to them, you really can actually help bring people out of the woodwork and bring support to help you get the things done that you're trying to accomplish. So it's not just about improving the public health. This is really about helping you accomplish your goals too as an educator or as a school. So the next thing here is kind of a loose quote from one of our master trainers, Peter Cribb, who always likes to say that you can tell whether or not a school has bought into the CATCH philosophy right when you walk through the door. So he'll say that you can not only see the classroom lessons being taught or the PE classrooms where kids are moving and being more active more regularly, but you'll hear it on the morning announcements that they'll be talking about Go Foods and eating healthier foods. They'll be talking about being sure kids are moving and being active on the way to school. And you'll also see things like this, which are signage around the campus, like say a CATCH poster, but also just kids' artwork and things that are clearly being driven in all areas of the school to show this kind of promotion of overall health. So even if you're not doing CATCH, again, seeing that healthy foods, healthy eating, being active are things that this school values. And all these are just screenshots from some video footage we were taking at a school in Jefferson Parish, which is New Orleans area. And again, you can just kind of see this philosophy of healthy living just by walking through the school. So nowadays, though, the school environment goes beyond just the building walls. Really, there's a very important and significant online environment as well. And CATCH is built on this social ecological model and the social cognitive theory, this idea that our environments and the norms that we express influence the behaviors we ultimately choose to do. So the more you're seeing things that reinforce or support a behavior, the more likely you are to do them. And that's really what kind of CATCH has been built on for decades. And this is really just kind of expanding that definition of environment to include an online space, which is kind of ever more present and important of a kind of way that the community and parents especially interact with the school environment. So this screenshot here, I just wanted to kind of point out, I was browsing the Austin Independent School District website and going through kind of their school list. And this is the Austin ISD page, but you'll notice, and this is pretty normal, that for every page on the district page, then will lead you to the campus website, and they've got nice, polished, clean, really, nice new modern websites for every campus, all the way down. Like these are pre-K elementary schools that have an online presence, and then so many of them have, even on the AISD page, if it's mentioned here, it'll have like their social media account. And if you go to the website, almost every single one, again, predominantly they're on Facebook and Twitter, but these are really important channels that schools are using to communicate with parents. So the question then became, how can we help schools develop their online presence to reflect the health values on display inside the school building? So that was really something that when I first came over from the Michael and Susan Dell Center for Healthy Living, I started one of my first projects with Joey was working on a communications toolkit, which is kind of the central thing of what we're going to be talking about here today. But we had to figure out and answer this question of how we're going to expand and take advantage of all these new communications tools to make sure that these are in line with what we're saying the school environment should look like. So we came up with, of course, something that should really resonate with teachers, and that's this idea of show and tell. And so with show and tell, what we're really trying to get people to do is with Show, capture what you're doing at your campus. Really make sure that you're documenting and following along and creating a story around what you are doing with your school health efforts. So this is, again, there's a lot specific to Catch here because of the toolkit, but this applies to all school health efforts that you may have. So you want to make sure that you're showing and capturing with pictures, videos, stories. If you're doing reports, if you're doing SOFITs to measure how you may be changing physical activity during your PE classes. You're taking pictures of kids that are being caught being healthy and making good choices in the cafeteria. Again, documenting this stuff is what the show component is. And then it's important that you tell that. So the tell part is sharing what you have documented. So share locally. So that's getting the community involved, getting your, showing parents what's happening inside the classroom or on the campus. But it's also being able to connect you with a broader school health community or the Catch community. And these are where we're trying to get people to tap into these different platforms like social media. You can see some examples that we've pulled from different schools across different platforms at the bottom of your screen there. But also, as I pointed out before, like your school website or the district website, getting these kinds of stories and pictures into the newsletter, even getting those into local news outlets, which I'll go into a little bit here, that is an incredibly successful tool to leverage when you're trying to paint this picture of what's going on at your campus. And then, of course, we here at the Catch Global Foundation are here to support and help kind of be a megaphone for your school health efforts as well. So when I mentioned kind of having that online environment reflect the same kind of, as Peter would put it, like showing the philosophy of Catch when you walk through the door, I was recently emailed a link to a video that a school in the New Orleans area, Catherine Strail Elementary School, had posted, and I clicked back over to their website and was kind of, delighted to see that this was what their homepage looked like. So talk about walking through the door and understanding what their kind of values are around Catches. This was the first image was kind of spotlighting their Catch kickoff activities. So think about new parents coming to the website for the first time, or they've got kindergartners, or they've just transferred in and they're looking up information about the school. And they come in and they're really educated really quickly that this is something we care about here. And if you scroll down the page, that's what the right side of the screen is. Their recent news items, all three of them were about kind of their Catch kickoff activities. So they had a video of this activity they did, what they're doing around Catch as a post, and then just some general information of what is Catch. And again, even if you don't know Catch as a brand, you're seeing here that the idea is around promoting physical activity, healthy food choices, and preventing tobacco use among students. So that's really, I think, kind of brings it home as this idea of walking through the doors of a campus building, just like you click through the doors kind of nowadays, and you see this, priority around health. So what we decided to do, this is back to the project that Joey and I worked on and kind of what she'll be getting into more detail about with the specifics, is we built this communications toolkit around this idea of, again, we want to get sites to talk about school health. We want them to be comfortable posting and kind of inserting that into their normal communications with parents. This is something, again, we've done with Catch for years with things like newsletter inserts and kind of tapping into all of the different ways that schools have traditionally communicated in the past and really just kind of modernizing and updating it and kind of expanding the reach of those things. So again, the idea being we want to get local support and buy-in. We want the parents to see the stories. We want them to get involved. We want other teachers, the entire campus to understand what's going on around promoting and supporting health. But we also realize it's a really powerful way to collect and share innovations on school health and best practices around implementing our program. Anyone will tell you that when you implement something at 10,000 different schools, you're going to get about 9,999 different ways to do it. So as people innovate and build on or kind of personalize all the different kind of pieces we have around Catch specifically, it's really great to kind of see how they're using it so that other sites can also see and learn from that. And so what we kind of termed that as is direct cross-pollination. So you can tell I was a biology major and and my Gregor Mendel and genetics things are coming up here, but this idea that we really can let catch sites kind of influence and support and drive each other's innovations. Like everything doesn't have to come through us as like the foundation or have to come out of a research paper. We can have good ideas and support coming from one school to another without anything getting in the way in between. And one way we do that, and that again, Joey will talk a little bit more about, is these official catch hashtags. And if you're not familiar with what a hashtag is, it's that pound symbol followed by some specific term, and it's a way to organize conversations online through Twitter and Facebook. So they're basically really specific search terms. So when you add one of these to a post, you can really easily kind of flag it as being part of this topic. So theme 1 in the Catch coordination kit is CATCHkickoff. And so you'll notice that language was kind of what was being used on the homepage of that Jefferson Parish School, but also it's the language of our hashtag. And so people can go on and search the hashtag and find what other sites are doing around CATCHkickoff and bring those ideas straight into their campus, as well as show off what they're doing at their campus. So that's kind of the goals that we had with this communications toolkit. And as any teacher knows, we call it show and tell, but there's this third piece that goes unspoken, and we hope that the kids don't realize is happening stealthily. When Timmy brings in his little toy Stegosaurus to show off to the class, we're actually well aware and hoping that what's really happening is all the kids are learning about dinosaurs right now. So the same kind of stealth learning is something we're trying to do with this show and tell with Catch as well, is that we want other sites and other Catch implementers and just anyone involved with school health to also be learning kind of ways that they can implement better, ways that they can improve things at their campus and teach one another. So as I mentioned, we've got things like the official Catch hashtags now that have just started this year. We've got kind of more formal channels like what you're attending today, a Catch webinar. We've got our Catch newsletter that goes out, and again, places that we are filtering and kind of pulling up some things that we think would apply to the broader community. We've also got our catch.org platform and our catchinfo.org website where we can post information as well. So everyone has a role and can participate in this too. We want to make it clear that show and tell is not just something that is done at the top. We have, kind of everyone's, we want everyone involved in communicating about these things. Most people know that pretty much everything in life flows and works a little better with good communication. And we need to all be talking about it. And so these are just a few examples here of, we're not just saying the district, but, in the middle here, you've got Oklahoma City Public Schools. They're, as a district, kind of sharing that, hey, we are kicking off Catch. Basically, they were doing a training and they wanted to make sure that everyone knew that was going on and this was coming to their district. We've got an example on the left of food services for Austin Independent School District responding to a school teacher's post about what they were doing with Go Foods around their classroom. So again, this is a department within a district talking to a teacher in a school about what's going on with Catch. And then on the right here, we have one of our favorite Catch champions online, Coach Scott Power in Katy, Texas, who really is a leader amongst his peers of PE teachers and regularly posts Catch activities or other just physical activities and games that he's doing in his gym to share with other PE educators to give them ideas of best practices and ways to do these different activities, and really has created a dialogue with them. And it's a really kind of cool place to go see PE educators teaching one another about best practices in the gymnasium. So everyone can have a role here. And then if you were looking for another reason to do this, this is also a place where funders come to the table. So with Isleta ISD, it's a school district near El Paso, Texas, for those of you not from the area. They started implementing Catch and they got funding to do so. And you can see examples of how they were posting, and then Paso del Norte Health Foundation is involved in the conversation here and enjoying what they're seeing about Catch, as well as Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas getting involved and talking about a story that was on the local news about Catch going on in El Paso schools. And both of these funders are involved with the Catch implementation going on in Ysleta ISD. So if you need even more encouragement and more of a reason to kind of get involved and share about these health activities, this, hopefully dollar signs a little bit in your eyes about being able to get support for implementation and bringing school health efforts to your campus or to your district. We at Catch Global Foundation are also, of course, tracking those Catch mentions. So in addition to following along on those Catch hashtags and finding things, people send us stuff all the time. They tag us on Twitter. They send us messages. They share on our Facebook page. We were actually just, having a conversation with a parent the other day who brought food allergies to our attention with regards to sending home announcements to parents to make sure that, hey, we take into account that some kids may have food allergies, and it's important for schools to be taking that into consideration, and kind of just opened up a whole new area that, we are now going to, be formalizing into some of our training and our materials to make sure that we're taking that into account. The other thing here is I've got my Google alerts that pop up. I get at least a couple, if not more, a week of local sites who are reaching out to news outlets and getting stories about what they're doing around Catch and school health at their district. And these things are really popular. These generate a lot of stories locally. So these are examples of Catch generating stories. So there's a Brownsville district, we are recognizing one of their PE teachers with a Catch award, and they submitted that to the paper, and the paper did a story on it. You can see one here from Franklin County Times, which I believe is in Arkansas, and I hope I didn't get that wrong, but and then Sauk Valley over here as well. So just Catch implementations going on around the country, but just kind of really driving some local attention, and again, bringing those people out of the woodwork so that they're getting Catch messages, not just through these kind of direct formal channels, but when families sit down and watch the news or pick up the paper, they're also seeing kind of great things that are going on around school health in their community through their community papers and things of that sort. So with that, I'm going to kind of hand over the conversation to Joey to talk a little bit more about how we formalized this communications process into Catch with the elementary coordination kit and other materials. So Joey, take it away.
Thanks, Brooks. And let me just add my welcome to everyone for being here today. This is actually something that I find really exciting right now, because I think it represents a tremendous opportunity to not only support what folks have been doing thus far with their Catch and health and wellness efforts, but really amplify and expand it, as Brooks was mentioning in that first section. As we started discussing formalizing communications into Catch, we did have a few initial questions that we were bandying about. And the first question is why? Not necessarily why for us, but for making the case for why communications is important and how to make it something educators think is important and part of what they do. Obviously, Brooks just talked a lot about the why in the first part of this webinar, about how communicating your health efforts can not only support what you're doing, but also amplify your efforts. But for us, the big questions were how to make it important to communicate to folks, but then also how do we, as Catch, incorporate this piece in a way that makes sense and doesn't disrupt the model. We needed to figure out a resource to help people show and tell and learn what they were doing that fit within the coordinated efforts we promote through the program. And finally, we had to think through the ways to encourage educators to use social media professionally and with a focus on health. Because although folks may be accustomed to using social media for personal use, many may not be used to using it in a professional capacity. Before we go too much farther into the communications piece, I did want to give everyone a quick heads up or review about the coordination kit, depending on what folks' experiences are with Catch and the different program pieces. So specifically, I just want to give a quick high-level view of what it is and what it entails. And as a note, our first step into formalizing communications into CATCH has been focused on the in-school CATCH program through the coordination kit. However, we are looking at these strategies, at applying these strategies across all our CATCH program offerings, such as the CATCH Kids Club, the after-school program, the e-cigarette prevention program, Catch My Breath, and so on. So the coordination kit is basically a step-by-step guide or roadmap to help people with the implementation and coordination of CATCH. It's complete with ready-made resources and step-by-step tasks to follow. The main pieces of the kit include a team coordination guide for the CATCH champion and the team to use, as well as 6 individual component folders for pretty much everyone on a campus to get involved with the effort. As I mentioned, there are numerous ready-made resources included in the kit, and also these are available on catch.org. So the CATCH coordination kit is organized around themes which are introduced throughout the school year every 6 weeks. The themes focus everyone's efforts around a common goal for that period of time. So no matter what area of the school you happen to be in, your efforts and whatever tasks you may be working on are designed to be coordinated with what everybody else is doing in their other areas. The tasks included in each theme are designed to be specific and doable in order to get as many people as possible involved in the efforts at a school. The tasks are laid out, as you can see on the right side of your screen, as 1-star, 2-star, or 3-star suggestions for things people can do. The 1-star tasks are designed to be quick and easy. The 2-star task is obviously another step, and then so on with the 3-star suggestion. From our point of view, we suggest that everyone do at least their 1-star task within that 6 weeks theme. So to answer those questions about how to formalize communications into CATCH without disrupting the model and trying to make it easy for educators to get on board with this, what we decided to do was embed the communications within our 1-star tasks each theme, along with creating the official CATCH hashtags, which you see on the left side, and these hashtags, according to the themes, follow along with whatever that common goal for that theme might be. So those were selected purposefully. So along with those official CATCH hashtags, we have also included specific prompts within the 1-star tasks that suggest and encourage folks to communicate about their efforts, trying to make the communications piece a little more prescriptive, if you will. The task itself will suggest a way for folks to communicate about what they might be doing for their 1-star task. For example, happens to be the PE task page, and their specific prompt is to take a picture or video of students playing one of the CATCH MVP games during kickoff week and post to social media with the hashtag CATCHkickoff. In addition to it embedded in the 1-star task, we have also included a social media example call out in the right margin of each task page. The example is designed to give folks ideas about what they could post, or they could simply copy and paste it and use the example as is. Basically, we encourage the CATCH champions and the teams at their campuses to urge as many people as possible to, again, do at least that 1-star task. And then the next step after that is to encourage them to communicate about what they did or what they are doing using those social media prompts as a guide or to gather ideas about what they could communicate. In just the short time that we have introduced the second edition of the CATCH coordination kit, we have seen it get rolling. Here are just a few examples of folks using the first 6 weeks hashtag, which is CATCHkickoff. And what you might notice, if you can see on your screen, there's a couple that use the same text, which happens to be some of the text from the social media example. Did you know we're an @CATCH Health campus? And then they basically tweaked it for their own use from there. Other folks have come up with their own original post and just used the CATCHkickoff hashtag. In addition to formalizing communications into the coordination kit and the actual program piece, we've also started the process of including it in our trainings. When we introduce the communications piece during training, we give a quick introduction or overview, and then we actually invite the participants to try it out and basically give them some practice by getting started creating a post that they could share about CATCH training using the hashtag CATCH training. So here's a quick snapshot of all the communication offerings, that part of that communications toolkit that Brooks was talking about. And these are available on catch.org. Rather than just mentioning these here, however, we are actually going to go to catch.org and kind of walk through real quick.
And just give us a quick second while we switch over here. Hold tight. Okay, let me share our screen again here. Okay, our screen should be back, and there you go, Joey.
All right, perfect. Okay, so this is the catch.org homepage. And as you can see here, if you go through, it will just show you all the CATCH program offerings by individual piece, by level, so elementary, middle school, early childhood. If you scroll down toward the bottom under resources, so the orange tiles that we see here, that's where you can find the communications toolkit. So if you just click there, you could access the communications toolkit. The other way that you can access the communications toolkit is by scrolling all the way back up to the top. And if you just click on the programs and resource tab in the upper left, and then just scoot down here to resources, you could access the communications piece that way. One thing to note about the communications piece, all of this, the toolkit materials are available at no cost. There is a difference between what we call preview and free. So the CATCH social media overview is available as a preview, which means you could basically just visit the site, click here, and then you would be able to access it. The other materials, it would prompt you, if you hadn't done so already, to log in and create an account. There is no cost to create that account. So again, you can have it for free, but we do ask that you kind of take that step and go ahead and create an account on catch.org. So this social media overview is that first piece, and much of what is in this social media overview is a lot of what Brooks went over in this beginning part of the webinar. There are a couple of handy tips on getting started and a few best practices that you can follow as well. I'm going to jump out of that, go back to communications, maybe. Oops. And then we're just going to jump into the show and tell and learn piece. Again, a lot of this, we have gone through some of this content today, but this section, if you actually spent some time here, you would see that you have even more information and links to more specifics as well, including the webinar archives, some newsletter examples and archives. And just as a note, anything in the bold green text will be a hyperlink that'll jump you to that page or to that particular section. Those CATCH hashtags that we mentioned, so I told you that there's a social media example included on the actual task page, but this particular page that has the social media theme and hashtag prompts it includes even more examples of ideas for posts, ways that folks could capture what they're doing and then share that out to connect with others and give other folks an idea of what they're doing. So in addition to it actually being in the task sheet, you have even more ideas in this section of the communications piece. And we're breezing through these pages. I encourage everyone to spend a little bit more time going through it because there is a ton of information and ideas that you can gather from using that. So we went through the social media theme and hashtag prompts. And then from there, you can jump to any of the appendices that we have. One thing about those appendices, again, giving you the why communication matters, gives you a lot more rationale for why this is important and how it can help you. But it also kind of gives those folks that may be hesitant to get started, maybe giving you a few more talking points to your principal, to other administrators that you might need to convince in order to get started with sharing out what y'all are doing health-wise on your campus. One other handy tool is the sample communications section. This, again, ton of information here, not only about social media so that you can see examples of what folks have posted and how folks have shared what they're doing catch-wise and health and wellness-wise on their campus. But again, other communication outlets as well in terms of videos, newsletters, and then also news archives that you can see about how Catch has been featured in the press. And finally, just the last appendix I want to kind of take you through is the opportunities for news. This is a super handy, if you haven't been that experienced in pitching stories to news outlets or traditional communication outlets, this section right here gives you a step-by-step process for how you might pitch an idea for media coverage, such as you are having a family fun event or something like that. This gives you kind of a sample step-by-step process to follow to kind of pitch that event and try to get some media coverage and some communications opportunities with whatever you happen to be doing at your campus. And then the last appendices that we have, and we don't have to go into it, is just a handful of official blurbs about Catch. So these are official approved blurbs that you could use, one for a press release. You could also use them to pitch media ideas or to include in your own newsletters to inform folks about Catch. So that's just a quick look at what's available on the site. Again, I encourage everyone to visit catch.org and explore not only the communications resources, but also the many other Catch resources that are available. There's a ton of, like I said, free information and resources, lessons, activities, and so forth that are available on the site. And then there are some that are under paid restrictions, so you'd have to buy access to the full catch.org offering. But tons of stuff for folks to check out and gather ideas from, use, and of course communicate about.
All right, great. And yeah, just a reminder, all the communication stuff that we're talking about today, all of that is available. There's no cost or anything for that. So we encourage you to go, and there's lots of freebies on there as well, of sample lessons, of activity breaks, all sorts of things that you can go on and take a look at. And you even got some samples, since we were logged in on my account, of some things that may be coming soon on catch.org as well. So, some eagle-eye viewers might have noticed that too. So anyway, we want to say thanks so much for attending our webinar here today, and want to entertain some questions now. And Joey, I'll kind of leave moderation a little bit to you. Do we have any questions that have come in yet?
Yes, we have a couple of questions. So again, if anybody else has questions, please feel free to type those in and submit those. We have a few more minutes that we can cover those. Let's see, one of the ones that have come in here says, does each school that Catch works with have a representative or someone on staff to consult with from Catch? So the basic answer is yes and no.
Great.
So you don't necessarily have a specific go-to person from Catch, but that is actually one of the reasons that the Catch Global Foundation was formed, so that we could actually offer more guidance and more support to folks who had adopted the program, been trained in it, and have gotten going, and even those that have been using it for years, to give them a little bit more support. So we are always available to assist as folks get started. One, if you're just thinking about using one of the Catch program offerings, or if you've been using it, you need some help strategizing, troubleshooting, just have a question about the materials, we are certainly available here at the foundation to help you with that.
Yeah, and just also to kind of clarify too that the Catch model does involve having a champion at each campus. So we do like to have one person identified at the campus who is leading the efforts, and we found that model works really well to make sure kind of things move forward. It's always nice to have someone that's kind of leading the effort, and so there should be someone at your campus. And then we've got another question of how can I help if I'm not affiliated with a school? Well, there's definitely some different ways that you can get involved with supporting and promoting school health. It depends on really what your interests are. But one thing you can do that that we can all do is support each other online too. So following your school, following what's going on in your community, and making sure that you are kind of being part of that positive environment, supporting healthy decisions and healthy policies at school by sharing and talking about that in online space. If your school puts up a post about encouraging Go Foods, give it a like, give it a share. Help support the people who are trying to communicate that message out. By lending your voice and lending kind of your following to it. As well. So that's one thing you can do. And of course, if you have other things that you'd like to get involved with, contact your campus or feel free to contact us. You can reach out to us with the social handles down there as well. Let's see, we've got another question that's come in that says, do you have any suggestions on how to get the word out about Catch to schools that are resistant to the change, or parents that are resistant to supporting Catch?
That's a really good question. And if we had all the answers to that, we would have this would be a lot easier than it has been. But no, that's a really great question. And one of the things that we found that really helps is to just start. I always like to say you and a buddy. So you commit to doing some of these things, and you grab somebody else at your campus or your site to do it with you. And again, as Brooks was mentioning, we really promote having a Catch champion and a team effort to kind of coordinate and lead that effort at a site or at a campus. And so just think, if you had 3 people, 5 people on that team, all of a sudden you have 6, now 10 folks if you use that you and a buddy. So just starting small and focusing on those folks that will kind of jump on board with you right away. And then I really see this communications piece as something that can certainly help turn the tide and convince more folks to get on board with this. Health, wellness, that is a white hat issue. It's not super difficult to folks to say that that's important and they care about that. What's really difficult is getting them to act on that. So I see more attention going to this through communications actually being a factor in helping to turn the tide and convince a few more folks to get on board with this.
And that's where kind of sharing those success stories really comes into play. So the more that we have other sites that are implementing Catch well, talking about how it's working at their campus, talking about how they're overcoming different barriers or things that might cause other parents, teachers, administrators to be hesitant about this, to kind of say, look, we thought it would eat up, class time to have to talk about food, but we realized we can integrate it in, and it's really actually made it for a richer learning environment. Or activity breaks are not something where it's a break. We're actually actually, integrating movement into our review part of the class day. These things can help other teachers kind of, get over those little fears and hesitations. And so, we welcome you to go look on like the kinds of stories we're sharing on our Facebook and Twitter pages and accounts, as well as, videos we're posting to YouTube, news stories that we're putting up. Maybe you'll even find one from your local area or from a neighboring school or from just something in your state or region that you could then take up to an administrator or to another parent and say, look, this is really working and making a difference at this school. Why aren't we doing it?
One other note to add about that particular question is we have some concrete tools that might help you convince folks to come on board with you in terms of PowerPoint presentations that provide specific slides on the health and academic link. So healthy kids are better learners. So we do have some specific concrete tools in addition to all the communications things that we've been talking about here today.
Well, awesome. Well, we see that we're out of time here for today. We're at 11:45, and we said that that's how long we'd go. So we're gonna pause here. We've seen a couple more questions, and we'll try to answer those with you directly. But feel free to reach out to us via these channels. You can also find mine and Joey's contact information on the CATCHinfo.org website. And reach out to us that way. But we're really delighted to see so many questions and so much interest in this topic. And we really appreciate you coming in and attending today. So thanks so much. The archive will be sent out to everyone. And we hope you have a wonderful, great rest of the day and week. And appreciate you again coming here to be with us today. Thanks so much.